There is a law written not in ink or carved in stone, but etched into the very heart of every man and woman who ever rose from nothing to everything. It is simple, it is brutal, it is unbreakable. You will never lose if you refuse to quit. It sounds almost too simple for a world that prides itself on complexity. But truth, real truth, has always been simple. It does not apologize for being sharp. It does not beg for your belief. It simply waits for you to either obey it or be broken by your rebellion against it. Look around you. Look at the ruins of dreams abandoned, the graves of ambitions buried too early, the lives half-lived and promises half-kept, each one a testament to a single moment when someone decided that quitting was easier than enduring. But study the greats, Edison, Carnegie, Disney, Lincoln, Ford, and you will see a different kind of monument. You will see the fierce, unwavering flame of a soul that made a vow, I will persist until success surrenders. Thomas Edison was called mad. Over 10,000 failures lit his path to the invention that changed the world. But failure to him was never the end. It was simply a signal. One more lesson down, one step closer to mastery. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than he won, failed in business, watched death steal the people he loved most. But the hammering of life only forged a will so unbreakable that he rose to lead a torn nation back to unity. Henry Ford was laughed out of boardrooms, told he was a fool, told it couldn't be done, and maybe for a lesser man, it couldn't. But Ford understood something most people will never grasp. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You only need one, you, because life will bend for the relentless. It is not your intelligence that makes you unstoppable. It is not your talent that makes you a force. It is your refusal to accept defeat, your stubborn, unreasonable belief that somewhere beyond this mountain of failure lies the gold you came to find. Every empire ever built, every song that echoed through history, every breakthrough that shook the world began the same way. A soul stood alone in a storm, battered and bleeding, and said, "Not yet. I'm not finished. Understand this. Life will test you, not once, not twice, but again and again and again, until it has no choice but to hand over the prize to the one who simply outlasts the others. You are not playing a game of speed. You are playing a game of endurance. The mind is the battlefield, the heart is the weapon, and your persistence is the shield that no blade can pierce. When the nights are long, when the applause is silent, when doubt is the only voice you hear, that is the exact moment most people turn back. That is when 99% crumble. But the 1%, they lean in. They say, good, this means I'm close. They tighten the grip on their vision. They lock their eyes on the prize. And they take another step. One more call, one more email, one more rep, one more page written, one more brick laid, one more sacrifice made in the name of a dream the world cannot see, but they can, because they refuse to quit. Persistence is the silent architect of destiny. It is the slow, merciless chisel that carves greatness out of stone. It is the hand that separates kings from beggars, leaders from followers, legends from the forgotten. If you quit, you guarantee your failure. But if you endure, if you stay 1 second longer than your pain, 1 second longer than your excuses, 1 second longer than the enemy screaming inside your own mind, victory becomes inevitable. Your life is a house built by decisions. Every thought, every action, every small moment when you say, I will continue, becomes another brick in the fortress of your future. And here's the secret. Most of your enemies will not come from outside you. They will come from within. The voice of comfort, the whisper of doubt, the siren song of mediocrity calling you to rest before the race is won. You must become a warrior of your own mind. You must learn to love the burn, the uncertainty, the grind, the loneliness, not because they are easy, but because they are signs that you are on the path the weak cannot endure. Every great victory is hidden behind layers of suffering that only the strong will peel away. The obstacle is not a wall, it is a doorway, and pain is the price of admission. The world is not looking for another excuse maker. The world is not craving another coward wrapped in fake smiles and shallow dreams. The world is starving for warriors, for builders, for relentless souls who choose creation over complaint, purpose over pleasure, discipline over distraction. And that, my friend, is you, if you choose it. You were not born to be average. You were not made to crawl through life begging for crumbs. You were designed, by whatever spark created you, to build, to forge, to rise, and to command your destiny. But that destiny has one toll. It demands everything. It demands your will when motivation fails. It demands your discipline when comfort tempts. It demands your patience when results are invisible. It demands your loyalty when the road is empty and the night is cold. It demands that when the world says, "You can't," you smile quietly and whisper back, "Watch me." Because the truth is, the world does not give its treasures to those who wish. It gives them to those who demand, who claim, who refuse to be denied. And the first battle you must win is the battle for your mind. You must believe so fiercely in your vision that it becomes a living thing, not a hope, not a fantasy. A reality you have already seen with the eyes of your soul long before the world can recognize it. Belief is not some soft, passive hope. It is war. It is the war of standing against every voice that says you are too small, too late, too broken, too unworthy. It is the daily rebellion against the comfortable mediocrity the world offers you like a drug. Understand this. The mind is a magnet. Whatever you plant inside it, it multiplies. Feed it fear, and fear will consume you. Feed it doubt, and doubt will drown you. But feed it faith. Water it daily, with discipline, with action, with vision, and it will grow into a force no obstacle can uproot. When Edison was mocked, when Lincoln was beaten, when Disney was fired for lacking imagination, they did not fold. They tightened their belief. They sharpened their vision. They understood. The clearer the vision, the faster the manifestation. You must see it in crystal detail. Not just success, not just wealth, not just happiness. See the life. Feel the air in your dream home. Hear the applause after your great work. Touch the first brick you lay in the empire you are destined to build. It must be real in your mind. So real that when reality looks empty, you are not discouraged. You are not shaken. Because you have already walked those streets in your imagination 1,000 times. The dream you hold is not random. It was entrusted to you, and your duty is to honor it, not with cheap talk or shallow wishes, but with ferocious clarity, conviction, and relentless action. The world tries to cloud you with distractions, noise, news, comparison, doubt. Every day is a battle between your vision and the fog, and every day you must make a choice. Will you move toward your dream with precision, or will you let the fog swallow another day of your life? Purpose is your compass. Vision is your map. And belief is the engine that will carry you through the storms. If you lose your clarity, you lose your fire. If you lose your fire, you lose your fight. And if you lose your fight, you lose everything. That's why you must guard your vision like a treasure chest. You don't show it to everyone. You don't explain yourself to small minds. You don't wait for permission from those who are too afraid to chase their own dreams. You protect it. You water it. You build it in silence, in discipline, in faith. Because the day will come, if you refuse to quit, when that invisible dream will become so visible, so undeniable, that the world itself will have to stand back and admit, "We were wrong about you." But by then, it won't matter, because you will have already become the person worthy of it. Not because you were smarter, not because you were luckier, but because you stayed, because you endured, because you refused to quit when every rational voice told you to turn back. The climb will not get easier, but you will get stronger. And the reward is not just the summit. The reward is who you become on the way there. The man or woman who refuses to quit becomes unbreakable. They walk through life with a fire in their eyes that even failure fears. When others stop, they go on. When others doubt, they believe. When others run, they charge. And in the end, the world bends to their will. Not because the world changed, but because they did. They made the decision once and for all that they would never hand their destiny over to circumstance, to fear, to failure. They became sovereign over their own soul. And that is the birthright you are here to claim. Discipline is the bridge between your vision and your victory. It is the invisible thread that binds dreamers to reality. Without discipline, belief is wasted breath. Without action, desire is dust. Every great monument you have ever admired, every breakthrough that changed the world, every life that became a beacon, all of them were built brick by brick with the cement of daily, disciplined action. Discipline is not passion. It is not excitement. It is not the fireworks that light up the beginning of a new dream. Discipline is the slow burn, the quiet grind, the choice you make when no one is watching, when the mood is gone, when the results are invisible, when the rewards seem like distant stars. It is waking up early when comfort whispers, sleep. It is staying late when everyone else clocks out. It is choosing the hard path when the easy road calls your name. Winners are not those who avoid failure. They are those who fall in love with the process so deeply that quitting becomes impossible. Not because it's easy, but because it's no longer an option. You must fall in love with progress, not perfection. With movement, not miracles. With the daily sharpening of your mind, your body, your spirit, until you become a living weapon forged by your own refusal to back down. Because action, repeated and multiplied by time, is the great equalizer. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the fastest. You don't need to be the most talented. You need only be the most committed, the one who will keep swinging when the others drop their swords, the one who will keep walking when the others sit down and wait for rescue. Success is not given to the talented. It is surrendered to the relentless. You will find that the world respects one thing above all: consistency. It doesn't matter if your steps are small, if your hands are trembling, if your victories are microscopic at first. If you refuse to stop moving forward, the world will move out of your way. The universe rewards the stubborn heart. Look at Henry Ford. Look at Thomas Edison. Look at Oprah Winfrey, who was told she was unfit for television. Look at Walt Disney, who was fired because he lacked creativity. Look at every name you have ever admired and understand. The only thing they had that others lacked was the audacity to keep going when the world said, enough. You must be willing to suffer the loneliness of the first steps. You must be willing to endure the doubt of those too scared to chase their own greatness. You must be willing to walk through the valley of disappointment with your head high and your heart unshaken. And when you think you can't take another step, when your legs are heavy and your spirit is battered, that is when you must roar back at the world. I did not come this far to surrender now. You came to conquer. You came to rise. You came to be the proof that persistence can move mountains, that discipline can outlast despair, that belief can build empires out of ashes. There is a rhythm to life, and those who learn to march to it, who move in action when others wait for permission, they become unstoppable. You don't need to move perfectly. You need only move relentlessly, step by step, brick by brick, fight by fight, until the dream that once lived only in your imagination becomes the reality that others cannot ignore. Because there is a law older than kings and longer lasting than empires. Action, multiplied by time, multiplied by discipline, equals destiny. You will never lose if you refuse to quit, because the road will not defeat you. Only your decision to stop will. And that decision is always yours. You hold the pen, you write the story, and the story does not end until you say it ends. And as you walk this road, battered, bruised, bloodied, you must remember the final secret of the relentless: gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not passive acceptance of mediocrity. Gratitude is the armor of champions. It is the force that keeps your spirit light when the weight of the world tries to drag you down. Be grateful not just for the victories, but for the battles. Be grateful not just for the breakthroughs, but for the breakdowns that strengthened your soul. Be grateful for the nights you cried yourself to sleep, for the mornings you rose despite the voices telling you to stay down. Every scar is a medal. Every failure is a lesson carved into your armor. Every detour is a sharpening of your will. Life does not owe you anything, and yet it offers you everything, if you have the eyes to see, the heart to believe, and the grit to act. Adapt, adjust, transform. You are not a tree. You are not fixed to one spot, one path, one plan. You are a living, breathing force of nature capable of evolving in ways the world cannot predict. When the storm comes, and it will, you do not shrink. You expand. You do not break. You bend like steel forged in fire. You do not run. You rise higher than before. Because resilience is not bouncing back. It is bouncing forward. It is gathering every ounce of pain, every drop of failure, every whisper of doubt, and turning it into a roar that shakes the walls of mediocrity. You will not be denied. You will not be delayed. You will not be defeated, because you have decided, fully, finally, fiercely, that you will never lose if you refuse to quit. Understand this. The world bends to those who refuse to break. The universe conspires for the soul that conspires with itself. Victory is not handed out like charity. It is seized, ripped from the jaws of defeat by those who simply decide they cannot be stopped. And that decision, that final, everlasting decision, belongs to you. You are stronger than your fear. You are greater than your doubts. You are bigger than your circumstances, and you have only just begun to scratch the surface of your own power. Today is the day you leave behind the excuses. Today is the day you outgrow the smallness that comfort has sold you. Today is the day you make the decision that generations after you will thank you for. The dream you hold is real. The fire inside you is sacred. The future you crave is waiting, just beyond the point where most people give up. Refuse to give up. Refuse to retreat. Refuse to be ordinary. And when the dust settles, when the world looks for heroes to admire, they will find your footprints, and they will know the name of the one who never surrendered. You will never lose if you refuse to quit. Now stand up, straighten your crown, tighten your grip, and go claim the life that was meant for you. And if you're ready to rise higher, fight harder, and become everything you were born to be, subscribe now. Join a brotherhood and sisterhood of warriors who will never back down. Turn on the notifications, and remember, this is just the beginning. Your time is now.